The other day, I was asked, what game would you play if you could only play one game for the rest of your life? Now, I didn't actually have an answer at the exact moment of the question being asked because I grew up playing so many games and a single one didn't surface immediately. But my mind went, I needed a game with no clear ending, and well, look at my channel, what game do you think I picked? Minecraft, the most popular game ever, with over 300 million copies sold. And with all the mods and add-ons, I thought one would never run out of content to play through. Now, why do I even bring this up? Well, that is because in this endless library of content, I found myself with no direction when it came to making this video. If you have seen any of my other 3 videos in this world, you will know that I am on day 66 of 100, with 100 days being the end of the series. I initially had 5 videos planned, with each video averaging 20 days in each, but when I got to these later 4 days, I had nothing that motivated me to keep playing. But the point of all this was to show that sometimes you don't need a plan and you can just go with the flow as you discover the game or life experience over and over again. So in this video, we just play hardcore Minecraft. We do some building, we do some slaying out, as the kids these days say. And if you enjoy this, a like or a subscribe would be appreciated, but only if you actually enjoy what I made. So with that out of the way, I hope you enjoy the video. We start off day 66 at the end because I forgot to record the first part of it, but don't worry, you didn't miss anything huge. I just sat in my raid farm and then enchanted some gear. This farm really pumps out XP, like how I used to pump out videos about making illicit substances, in-game of course. Speaking of my raid farm, it needed more storage, so I hooked up more chests to the items I knew I would get a lot of, like emeralds and redstone. I tried to stay up all night since I forgot to record the actual day part of it, so as the dawn began to bust forth from the horizon, I added item filters to the raid farm. Day 67, I finished the item sorters, and I wanted to try them out. Unfortunately, my raid farm captain's storage, wow, that was a mouthful, was stinky and it didn't work right, so I had to fly all the way back to the outpost to get the bad omen effect to start the raid farm up. I got back and started the farm up. I ran it all day to see if the filters were working, and guess what? I think they were. I didn't really get much from the farm, so I assumed it was working, and I took all the gunpowder out of the storage. Also, earlier I said that we were enchanting gear, but I forgot to mention it was diamond swords I was enchanting. I need looting 3 for this farm to work at maximum capacity, and looting 3 is like when you gamble and you count the cards. You get a little extra money because you have a mental buff. What am I even saying anymore? Man, I really have lost it. Anyway, regardless of my mental state, the next day was raining, and I thought my villager plantation could use an expansion. So I made my sheeps naked and crafted up some bed for my villagers. And with these beds, they could get to reproduction, which, if you remember, all they need is food to get crazy in the sheets. After expanding the villager's home, I went to visit my only villager in solitary, the mending guy, and got a bunch of mending books for later. You'll never know if you need these. I tried to enchant some more swords for looting with no luck, and went back to the raid farm to get more XP. The day ended with me in the raid farm moving all the loot back to my camp on the shore. This base could definitely look better, but I was in survival mode, not build mode. Ah, what a day. Day 69. This was the typical Minecraft day. I traded with some of my lovely villagers for some fine materials, and then started to clean up the area around the old village. I did all of this all day, and then it turned to nighttime, like it does. But I heard noises from the sky, and these were noises that I had feared ever since starting this world. Ah yes, the mob people voted for to be added to the game, and I personally feel it has no place in the overworld, but oh well, here it is now. Yes, I'm talking about the phantoms, because I forgot to cleep for so long that these guys started spawning, and since it was a special day, I thought I'd slay some for the chance at some phantom membrane. I could like keep it as a trophy or something. After killing both of the sky demons, I had only one membrane, so I made an item frame, put the phantom membrane thingy in it, and went to cleep with my cat, and ended the first 69 days. This is the part where I make a place to store my villagers. Now, I already know I have a place, but I want a nice building where I can trade with them easily and have a mass amount of villagers. I want them to be organized and neat so that I can always easily find the one that I need. But before we can get to the building, I need to get job stations for my villagers. The first job we will be setting up is the cleric. This villager uses the brewing stand as a workstation, and he kind of just like sells the raw resources like redstone, lapis, glowstone, you know, those kind of things. Now that we're trying to get this sword, you know, the looting 2, looting 3 one, lapis is very important because each enchantment requires 3 lapis per attempt, so we really need to get that. Anyway, enough of my yapping, and let's just get right into this. To craft the brewing stands, we need blaze rods, so I made a journey out to the spawner we found to collect up some of their rods. I only need like 11, so after I got these 11, I traveled back to my home base and made the brewing stands. Now let's talk about my blocks of choice in the building palette we're going to be using to build this building. I settled on the classic stone bricks and the very controversial birch planks. I think these two look great together. If you don't really like it, then oh well, this isn't your video. Birch can be hard, but I think I'll make it work with the stone. But before we can do any building, I wanted to lay out a little track that will transport our new unpaid interns from the pen to the new building. After I started this track though, I realized I wanted to use some lime green glass, and I don't have any lime dye. So the only way I could get this is going to the desert and mining up some cactus to eventually turn that into lime dye. So I went all the way back out to the pillager outpost and started searching from there, and when we finally found some sand plains, there was a desert village. Now this village also has a new friend. One day we'll have to bring back this new friend, and you guys got any names for what we could call him? Day 71 started with us looting the village, and we even found some of the dye that we were after, but not enough for what I had planned. Then I saw a miracle. The ocean had a coral reef, and this is where sea pickles grow, and we can smelt sea pickles straight into lime dye. These pickles really saved my pickle because I was gonna have to gather a bunch of bones, but not anymore. So we de-pickled the ocean, and we flew back home with all the potential lime dye, and then when we got back to the plantation, we planted a cactus farm with one of the ones we gathered from the desert, and we started smelting the pickles and the sand, and while all of that was cooking up, I went over and flattened the land where I wanted this new building to go. Once it was flat, I started to work in a design with the bricks and the wood. The glowstone was also used to light it up, and the glass added some color, like, you know, because emeralds are green and we're using a lot of emeralds. I'm not sure what else I was going to use as a comparison for why we're using it, but there we go. But after building all night, we had something that looked decent put together, and it's not my best, but it's not horrible. Day 72 was a resource gathering day. I used the raid farm to get emeralds to buy glowstone. I went mining for stone so I could craft up some juicy stone bricks. Then I made my way over to the villager captivity chamber and added a roof and worked on some of the designs. Then it was time. It was time to move our first unpaid worker over to his new chambers. Don't worry though, the conditions are amazing. Lots of outdoor time, and you get a light right at your feet, always shining up under you. I used a furnace minecart to move him over, and the creepers and spiders had other plans. 2 creepers took 2 mega busts all over my front, but don't worry, we can cover that up. Anyway, we ended the day with removing the new captive out of his minecart, and then we went to sleep in our bed. I got up bright and early on day 73 to resume work on my villager containment unit. The first thing we did was capture another one of the jobless ones from the pit to move him to his new home. It took a second to get him into place, but eventually I got him all settled into his new forever home. The next villager was much easier to move since I knew that a block needed to be placed in order to stop the villager from going rogue. I repeated this process till I had 5 villagers in place in the first section of the build, and now that I had these guys in place, I took the opportunity to trade with them to get some of that redstone and lapis I was after. But as the night began, I moved the tracks over to the other half of the building to set up for some more villager drops. And while the village was peacefully asleep, I went in and started abducting them one by one to add them to my trading hall. I only got one though before I went to sleep, just so that I could clear this stupid rain. Day 74, we were back at it, moving villagers and enjoying every minute of it. After some time though, we had the other 5 villagers in place, and this test slice of the build was done. What do you guys think? Well, let me tell you something. These guys are a pain to move, so maybe on one of my Saturday live streams, we have a Q&A and I move the villagers around if you guys would be interested in that. But anyway, with all the villagers in place, I went around and traded them up to make sure they were restocking their supplies. The last notable thing I did was to enchant a sword, but you know, never lucky. We didn't get the looting, so I went back to the raid farm. I hit 60 levels with that raid farm session, and I went back to try one last time at getting a looting sword, and like a complete big booty boss, we got it. With the looting 3 secured, the wither skulls grind later in this video might not take that long. Yes! Day 75 marks the 3/4 completion mark of this challenge. So, well, you know what they say, it's all downhill from here. And trust me, I really embraced the no plan life in these last 25 days. But let's focus on today. Oh yeah, that's right, all I did was sit in the raid farm, then enchant some diamond chesties, and started working on the next section of the villager prison. I wanted an area where the librarian ones could sell me glass and enchanted books, but I kind of forgot you have to re-roll the enchantments on the books. So the design I made was kind of bad for that, but oh well. I mirrored the design we had already made, and instead of brewing stands, I used lecterns so that the brain-dead villagers would conform to the job of books. Day 76, I spent all day 76 finishing up the villager hall and all night working on it, but I finished it for the most part, and well, you know, there's not much to say about it, so on to the next day. Day 77 started off with me breaking the raid farm, and so I had to fly all the way back to the outpost again to get the bad omen effect as usual. And I really need to set up a portal network for this journey because like this is kind of happening a lot. Anyway, we started the day getting more levels in the raid farm. We did that all day and all night, and as the night came to a close, I started moving the librarian villagers into their new homes. For some reason, the villager was still attached to his home bed, and I learned to never open the villager pens at night because they will sprint to the bed pit. But this is where we start to see a similar pattern of repetition. Wake up, get levels, move villagers. Oh man, this is gonna be a long segment, isn't it? And speaking of this cycle, on day 78, I did that exact formula. I moved the villagers, then jumped into my raid farm. But that night, I did something new. I went out to gather gravel and sand. We need these two non-illicit powders to help craft up some concrete for a surprise build. Ooh, what could that be? Well, you'll just have to wait and see, because on day 79, we started with gathering up the rest of the sand, and I really do like this desert area. Maybe next season of my server, I'll have like a desert base or something built here. Anyway, I got enough sand, and on my way back to the compound, I stopped to get some ink because we need black dye for our build. These squids never stood a chance against my looting 3 sword. After we got about half a stack of ink, we took it back to the main chest monster, and with all these resources gathered, it was time to build the secret build. Just kidding, I need to turn all the concrete powder into concrete blocks, and the night came around, so I just decided the project wouldn't get started until the morning. I may have forgotten to turn the black powder into blocks, so on the morning of day 80, I turned about a stack of black concrete powder into the glorious block form. Also, I took a break between day 79 and 80 because my mouse decided to fix itself, and so that one of the buttons was working again. Oh yeah, if you didn't know, I started recording this video with a broken mouse, and so on day 80, I finally fixed it. But now, it's secret build time. This build is going to go on top of the villager area, and look at that, boom. It's done. But I didn't even get a good look at it because I was too busy killing the rogue villagers. And then to protect the lives of the innocent ones, I rang the bell to make them all go home. Anyway, with the heart done, I moved some more villagers into their permanent homes, and I spent all night getting the last few villagers into their pens. And guess what? These villagers are the last ones I move in this video. Day 81 started by me cleaning up the villager holding area and adding a stone brick floor, and I went up and gathered some mats for the decor in front of the heart and the villager area. I tried to add a fountain, but it looked really bad, so I removed it. While I was building this, I got swarmed by like 20 zombies, and I've never seen a mass like this before. Is this a mass swarm mechanic I'm unaware of? Well, if you know what it is, let me know so I can understand what's going on here. On day 82, I looked at my build and said, you know what? I can make this bigger. So I went into the stone mines and gathered up some more stone bricks, and then I started expanding the rows of villager camps. Since this day is kind of lame, let's talk about something fun. What if I started a podcast? Would anyone even listen? What would I talk about? I do also say a lot of things that are not very nice or very PG, but I don't know. Anyway, that would be kind of fun. I should remember have to not say anything horrible. But I almost finished the build, and then I went to sleep in my bed. Day 83 was another day, another victory royale for me, I guess. I don't really know anymore, but on day 83, we started with chopping some birch trees to hopefully finish the villager area. And well, I got enough to see it finished, so yeah, I didn't really do anything else except for sit in my raid farm. Hold on a minute. If this is gonna be the same thing over and over, no one's gonna watch this. Let me see what I have recorded for the rest of this video, because I know I got like a beacon or at least something. Oh, I remember now. Wait, look at that. I'm standing in the raid farm on day 100. Dang, I'm gonna need to compress this down because people will definitely start to click off if they haven't already. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna summarize the rest of the day into 2 parts. We're gonna have day 84 through 90 and then day 91 through 100, because I remember like 2 big things I did in these 2 parts. So lock in and get ready to watch me kill the wither skeletons and dig a bunch of holes. Well, I didn't think I would go for a beacon in these 100 days, but here we are. I started this beacon journey off by heading over to the nether and making my way to the nasty underground fortress we found at the beginning. And one of the most efficient ways to get the skulls for the wither fight is to flatten out a 4-way intersection in order to make the land for more skeletons to spawn. So I did this and ran around for like 3 days trying to get skeletons to spawn, but I couldn't seem to get any to spawn. So I was running to leave when I spotted like 1 or 2 and I killed them them, and I got my first skull. We need a total of 3 in order to fight the Wither and get the beacon. But this fortress is terrible, just like the YouTube algorithm at pushing my videos out. Anyway, to solve this issue, I went to another fortress that was in a Soul Sand Valley because they have better spawn rates. I got another skull rather quickly, and now it was just one more skull needed in order to get out of this dangerous place. Oh yeah, at this point, I had pretty much become immune to the fact that these skeletons could just 3-hit me, and I was just slaying out and getting all these kills. I think the exact day we got the skull was day 88 or day 89, but I'm not exactly sure. Anyway, we got all 3, and now it's time to head back to the overworld and fight another boss. To fight this Wither, my strategy was to go into the deep slate level and dig a tunnel really far out so I could fight the Wither underground. Little did I know that my gear was really strong and this fight was gonna be super easy underground. Anyway, I fought the Wither and the sword part didn't take too long, the bow part didn't take too long, it all went really fast and didn't even have any close calls. But now that we have our nether star, it can be used to craft a beacon, and beacons can be used to give me status effects like speed or strength whenever I'm close to the beacon, so they're, you know, really useful. I made this max power beacon using the emeralds from the raid farm, and yeah, that just about covers day 84 through 90. So now on to the last section of the video, days 91 through 100. I'm gonna do this section differently than the last one because in terms of gameplay, not much really happened. I did 3 major things worth noting. First was that I removed the old villager houses near the villager containment area just to make it look more clean for the thumbnail. The second was I spent most of the time building an underground house thing with a bed and windows for my cats so that they would be safe, and I gave them all names. If you get any of the references from any of these names, then good for you. And the last thing I did was get to level 100 to represent 100 days survived, I think. Well, those are the only 3 notable things I did, and well, yay, 100 days survived. But this video isn't over yet. I'm gonna show some clips from these last few days explaining what all these things I just did, and I'm just gonna talk to you, the viewer, for a few minutes. Around when this video comes out, will have been 1 year since I uploaded my first video, and oh man, do I have some thoughts to share with you about YouTube and uploading Minecraft videos. So if you know anything about me, the reason I started all of this was because I just love making videos, and I love playing games, and Minecraft is a game that I enjoy, so after doing some research, I found that Minecraft channels tend to retain the most audience and get consistent views over time, and the videos don't require me to say my real name and, you know, stuff like that. But Minecraft on YouTube is something that I feel like it will always resurface. You know, let's say a big YouTuber does something Minecraft related or a new update drops, and it will always just have people coming back to it forever, I feel like, hopefully, and I'll just, you know, be here making videos for you guys. But if you ever want an in-depth or more explanation than just this short little message, you can come into one of my live streams and just message me in there and I'll try to explain it to you. I live stream Saturdays from 2 to 3, well, that's when it starts, but you know, around 2 to 3 Eastern time it starts, and I hope to see you there. Anyway, that's enough about me yapping about YouTube and Minecraft. It's time to send you all off on your journey. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and you enjoyed listening to me, and I wish you well on the rest of the videos you watch after this one. I will see you guys in the next one, and have a great day. Bye bye.